Good evening and welcome to In the Game on BBC Radio Nottingham. Aaron with you here for a very special programme as we welcome two new strikers to Notts County. So Macaulay Langstaff and Kedwin Scott have arrived from Gateshead recently as the Magpies prepare for their new National League season. And I'm happy to say they join us now. I'm going to dive straight in and say, Macaulay, you arrived first, Kedwin afterwards. Macaulay, why did you decide to join Notts County?
I think it was a few reasons, really. Obviously, finished the season with Gateshead, and obviously I was really happy there. Obviously, a very successful season for myself individually and for the team. I was quite happy, really. I wasn't necessarily looking to leave. A few days after the season, Notts County got in touch, and I think there's certain clubs, obviously there's interest from elsewhere, but there's certain clubs that made it take note a little bit more than others. And as soon as I heard of their interest, I was excited by it. I went down, drove down, met the club. I sort of went into the meeting sort of open-minded, but didn't know what to expect. I think I walked away from that meeting. Obviously met all the staff and seeing the ground for the first time, and I walked away from that meeting like I think I was set on sign up for Notts County. You know, the club, it blew me away a little bit, the facilities and the plans that are in place and the plans for me and things like that. So I think that was the case of just tying everything up and getting it signed.
I like that. And I like the fact you said you had an okay season. Because, I mean, was it 32 goals, 14 assists? That's not a bad season, I'd say.
No, it was good, yeah. I'd probably say I exceeded my expectations a little bit. But, yeah, it was a brilliant season for myself individually. And then to top it off with promotion as well. Yeah, it was a great season.
Kedwin, you arrived just after Macaulay. I guess an okay season too, 24 goals for yourself. Did you have, was Macaulay joining, did that give you any kind of added extra to say, yeah, I'd quite like to play up front with him again?
Well, definitely, yeah. Obviously, when the club got in touch and expressed an interest, then I knew what a massive club it was. And they were unlucky last season to lose in the playoffs, obviously, a killer blow in that game. But no, to link up with Macca again and play football the way we played last season is hopefully what we're going to try and do, and we have a good understanding of each other, and hopefully we'll be able to emulate that again.
I know you said in your initial interview with Notts County, you said it's been a long road to get here, and it's just happy to be enjoying your football again, or you were last season. So just going into that, what did you mean when you said that?
Well, I've played at various different levels all over the country and in Scotland as well. So I've got a vast range of experience of football and experience not playing and being left out of squads and being in the forefront of teams winning games and win the league last season. So that's sort of what I meant by a long journey, and kind of finally feel like got a regular run last season, and every time I've done that, I feel like I've done well.
Now, as mentioned, Kedwin, you came after Macaulay, but I've got to ask the question to you, Macaulay. I mean, Notts County's becoming a bit of a Geordie outpost now with, Carl Cameron's there, Cal Roberts already. Did you just kind of think you might be signing for Newcastle?
100%. Obviously, same colours, Savannah Magpies. Obviously, there's a lot of links. Obviously, I don't know the lads there, the Newcastle lads, but I knew of them. And obviously, when I signed, and then Kedwin signed a few weeks later, I think having that familiarity is important. I think it helps you settle in. So I think the first couple of weeks can be tough if you go into somewhere where you've got no sort of common ground with anyone. But now I've got a few common ground, and I'm looking forward to it.
You actually joined the club before head coach Luke Williams was appointed. So is it quite hard to join a football club not knowing who's going to be in charge?
I wouldn't say it's tough. No, I think the structure they got in place from the top down to the bottom, it really impressed me. You know, obviously when they were recruiting the manager, they were telling me that the sort of style of play they wanted to play and stuff like that wanted it to continue from last season. And I obviously watched them a lot last season, really impressed. So I knew that sort of whoever was coming in was going to play that sort of style of play that suits me. So I wouldn't say it was tough. No, obviously it was a bit strange, not speaking to a manager, not knowing who the manager's going to be when I'm signing. But I don't think it made my decision any harder.
Was it good to get a move as quickly as you did? Because quite often, especially in the summer, days and weeks, they can get longer and longer. And I mean, we're already at the part of the summer now where clubs are beginning to think about getting back to pre-season, a lot starting next week. So did it feel good to get something sorted fairly quickly?
Yeah, I think it's very important. You know, you don't want to be going weeks and weeks dragging on and going back to pre-season, not knowing whether you're going to be stuck at the same club or moving to a different club. And, you know, I got sorted relatively quickly, and then straight away it was like, man, focus. I know where I'm going to be. I know where I'm going to play my football. And I was really excited to sort of focus on that and keep fit over the summer. And then I just can't wait to get back now.
How fit have you been keeping? What have you been up to over the summer?
You know, I had a couple of holidays early on. Obviously, let my head on a little bit. It was a long, tough season. But once I got back, you know, it was down to business. We got sent a program from Notts County, a very detailed program. And I've been sticking to that really and keeping relatively fit over the past 4 to 6 weeks. I'm in a good space now in terms of my fitness.
When you say let your hair down a little bit at the end of the season, are we talking like you've had a good time, or did you Jack Grealish it in Vegas?
I don't think I went that far, but I definitely had a good time. A couple of holidays.
Edwin, what about yourself? I know you came after Macaulay, so as Macaulay said, there's that kind of comfort a little bit, specifically when you know a strike partner or someone who's playing around you is already at the club. But did it feel comfortable to get it sorted when you did? And what have you been doing over the summer?
Yeah, definitely. You obviously like to go into pre-season knowing where you're going to be. So we're not back in just yet. So I've got that sorted in that regard, and I know where I'm going. And I've just been doing the same, really. Gates had set a plan, so I've been following that as well as doing my own bits and then doing the Notts plan as well. So no, all good. Been out today as well in the sun. The sun's a bit of a killer, like, but other than that, no, it's all been good.
Do you get kind of a bit apprehensive with pre-season just around the corner?
No, I think it's more excitement to go in, especially going into new surroundings and environment, and working with a new manager as well. Met him and he's really passionate. So really looking forward to working with him and the coaching staff, because they really impressed me when I spoke to them and showed me little bits on the computer and their mannerisms and how sort of enthusiastic they were about the upcoming season.
Now, Macaulay, I'm going to ask you the same question very shortly, so you've got time to prepare your answer. But Kedwin, before you moved, what did you know about Nottingham as a place, and what did you understand about Notts County as a club?
Obviously, I'm aware that Notts County is the oldest professional football club in the world. Is that right?
Well, there's a bit of technicalities, and this ain't one that's good. But they were when they were in the Football League. But when they get back into the Football League next season, thanks to your goals, then they will be.
Yeah. And a few people I've spoke well about the area, said it's a nice area to live, and a couple of lads have lived down here and said it's a decent night out as well. So all good. Have
you been watching BBC One's drama Sherwood just to get to grips with what goes on around there?
No, I haven't, but I'll have to give that a watch, I think.
Yeah, it's based on a true story, but some of it's made up as well, so don't take it all on account. Carly, what were your kind of impressions? What did you know about Notts County as a club, and what do you know about Nottingham as a city?
Yeah, so obviously, as a club, I spoke to Adam Campbell. He was obviously at Gator with him, and he played for Notts County a few years back now. And he told me so much about the club. He said how much of a good club it is. And everyone I've spoken with that's sort of been involved in Notts County have said, oh, it's just a brilliant club. Obviously, like Ked said, I knew that about it being the oldest club. And in terms of the city, yeah, Adam spoke a lot about it. I'm a big sports fan. I'm massive on my cricket. I know obviously Trent Bridge is host some of the England games. I'd love to get down there if I can, if it's possible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to moving down there and embedding myself in the city.
Are you both going to be living together?
I think that's going to be sorted over the next few weeks. Obviously, we're hoping I can get sorted, but it just depends on what happens over the next few weeks, really.
I'm just thinking that's carnage. You know, if someone like is bad, if either of you are a bad cook or anything like that, and you start, you could have dodgy tummies. You could both be out for a game. You got to be really careful with that. Or either,
well, yeah, both I think kids will do the cooking. So if we don't know him, I won't be cooking.
So let's talk about what the fans can expect from you, because Notts County fans have seen they've just signed 2 strikers, one who scored 32 goals last season and the other that scored 24 goals. Now, any football fan right now looks at that and gets quite excited. Football fans like goals, and goals win games. So, Kedwin, what can the fans expect from you as a player?
I'm kind of don't really excel in sort of a specific area. I fancy myself to be pretty good in all areas of the striker, sort of hold up play and movement's fairly decent, I would say. And my strong point is probably my clinical finishing. I think last season's chances I'm quite sort of proud with the ones I stuck away and did well with the chances. I missed a few sitters as normal, like any other striker would do, but no, that's probably the strong part of my game, the clinical finishing.
And you said, I think this was in your initial interview, but you said Macaulay's pace kind of allows you to run in behind and it helps you kind of gain assists. Do you two play well of each other then? Do you bounce off each other on the pitch?
Yeah, definitely. He's obviously rapid, so that helps. So the defenders and fullbacks are sort of almost retreating as we're attacking, and that gives me an extra little yard to drop off the defender or get a yard to get a shot off as well. So no, that complements each other really well, in my opinion.
Macaulay, anyone calling anyone rapid is always nice, a nice compliment. You want to take that on board. How do you feel about making the step up though? Because that's always the question whenever any player makes the step up. As a player though, how confident are you in your ability that you can bring your form from last season into this league?
I'm really confident.
Sorry.
I'm really confident as well as Maka should be. As you've seen last season, we both had good seasons, and we're just going to try and do the same things as got in that position and work hard every day and stuff. And sure, when we move in together, if that ends up happening, then we'll spend a lot of time with each other and put in good habits and look after our bodies and train hard really every day.
I like that. You seem a lot more comfortable with or confident that you two are going to move in together, whereas Macaulay was like, yeah, well, it might happen. It might happen. Something happening there.
Get my hopes up.
But Macaulay, the same question to you. Are you confident that you can bring in your form from last season into the league above?
100%. You know, I'm full of confidence, full of belief. I'm off the back of a season where my stats were really good. I've experienced playing against teams in this league. You know, I think last season we had a couple of games against Altrincham in the FA Cup, and then a couple of games against teams a little bit higher. And we've done really well in them games. I've got goals in them games. So I'm looking forward to a challenge. You know, I think sometimes people can become settled at a certain level. Now I'm just looking forward to showcasing my talents at a higher level. I'm really confident I can do that.
Awesome. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a track now from it's the Fratellis. It's as if this was planned and it's a football show. And then we'll be back. So I want to find out both of your initial thoughts of Notts' new head coach. Listen to In the Game on BBC Radio Nottingham, and I have Notts County's two new strikers alongside me, Macaulay Langstaff and Kedwin Scott. Now, before we get into this and we continue the conversation, we've learned about what brought them to Notts County, whether or not they can bring their form from last season in the league below to this season. They're both confident about it. They're both going to move in together, potentially, if Kedwin gets his way, although Macaulay's, he's not too sure. But I need to fix something before we go any further, because you both mentioned that Notts County are the oldest professional club. Now, I misheard and thought you said Football League Club, and that's when I said when it got relegated, they weren't the oldest Football League club, but they will get that title back when they get promoted. But they are indeed still the oldest professional football club. So, just for football fans out there, I know what that's like if anyone gets something wrong about a football team. It is blasphemy. So I just needed to rectify that. So you're both going to be moving in together, and I've had a few people actually sending questions going, if Kedwin's the cook, what does he cook? So Kedwin, are you a good chef?
Well, I've got a little bit in the kitchen. My girlfriend would probably disagree, because she takes over every time I try and spice things up. But no, I do pretty mean spag bol. I know you said that I can't class that, but I can do enchiladas as well. That's they're my two go-tos.
These are all bought in a box from a supermarket, right? You just throw some mince in the pan and you got it sorted. Macaulay, just from having played with him before, has he brought in food to the club? Has he cooked for other players? Has he ever tried to mask someone else's cooking as his own?
Yeah, he comes in every day with a new meal prep, and it looks decently fair. I always ask him, I say, did you cook that? He's like, yeah. I think if we move it together, we'll see for definite if he's been cooking it or he's been buying it. But I don't think he's been cooking it. It looks too good to cook.
He's been trying to cry out for a new sponsorship deal, hasn't he? For one of those companies that builds their meal preps for him.
Yeah.
I'm down with it. They're all good. Now, both of you have moved to the club. So I know we're speaking together now, and you'll be moving in together potentially, and you were playing up front together last season. And as far as that partnership goes, 32 goals and 24 goals. I'd like to think you have a good relationship, but are you two quite close off the pitch?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we've got a really good relationship on and off the pitch. Obviously, it's the first time I've played with kids this season. This is the first season that I've even met him as a person, never mind as a footballer. But we just struck off from day one, really, on the pitch. I knew we were going to complement each other really well. From day one in pre-season, we were playing well with each other. And then off the pitch, we've got a really good relationship. I think the sort of group at Gator we had, we were all really close off the pitch. We did a lot of things together, and I think that just made our relationship a lot stronger. And I think me and Ked were two of the closest out of that group.
Now, Kedwin, I mentioned this before, that it's becoming a bit of a Geordie outpost at Notts with Carl Cameron, Cal Roberts, and now you two. Did you, and I hate, if anyone ever asked me this question, like you're in a different city, this like, I know someone from Notts, but did you know, or do you know any of the other Geordie lads in the team?
I don't know them personally, no, but I've heard good things because at Gateshead we had a lot of the Newcastle Academy lads from when they were younger, and they both spoke highly of both the lads there. So now I'm looking forward to meeting them. So,
Kedwin, I'm going to come to you first on this question. What have been your first impressions of the new man in charge, Luke Williams?
Like I said earlier in the show, he's really impressed me with how enthusiastic he is. And the first time I met him, he sort of got his laptop straight out, sat me down and showed me a clip of the way he wants to play football. And it was...
I'm glad you mentioned a football clip there.
A clip, a clip of them, one of his team sort of bopping the ball around for 3 minutes and scoring a goal. So no, that really excited me.
Is that goal scorers? I often think, and this is just from me, goal scorers want the ball and you want to score goals. And if you're talking to a midfielder or your defender, there might be defenders go, I need to play this style of football. I want to play it out from the back, or I want to be able to send it long, or what have you. As a striker, do you still have that thought process in your head of there's a certain way you want to play football?
No, not really. I just like to play sort of fun, exciting football, sort of that football that you played when you were a kid at school in the playground and stuff, and just sort of get people off their feet and as I said before, exciting football.
Macaulay, what was the first video that Luke showed you?
Well, obviously, it was a shared dynamic with me. Obviously, I signed when I was no manager there, so I actually haven't met the manager face to face yet. Obviously, I've watched a lot of his interviews and things he's done, and I've spoken to a lot of people, and all they say is good things about him. I think the way he wants to play is going to really suit me and kids. I've watched videos of team. Obviously, he was at Swindon and he was assistant manager at Swansea. I've watched the way they play, and I think that'll really suit me. I actually spoke to the assistant manager at Gateshead, who went down and met the gaffer and his gaffer at the time at Swansea, and they put a sort of presentation to them to show how they work things. And he told me about it, and he said how good he was tactically, and how he thinks that I'm going to bounce off him. I'm going to really improve under him.
Macaulay, what was your experience like playing for Gateshead and being in and around that area? And the reason that I ask is you are moving to a club that is part of a huge sporting heritage within the county of Nottinghamshire. When you look at Nottinghamshire and you go, right, there's 3 football clubs there. There's Forest, there's Notts County, and there's Mansfield. There's a huge cricket club there in terms of, Notts at Trent Bridge. They also now have the 100 with the Rockets playing there, England are playing there. But you've seen what happens when sport goes well in this area, the entire place just kind of carries it through. It's that almost small city vibe of it. So what was your experience being a footballer in Gateshead, and how do you feel about moving to Notts, where you're going to get recognised now when you're on your nights out?
Experience at Gateshead was unbelievable. Like you say, there's so many similarities. I think I was at Gateshead for a couple of years and went for that spell where obviously we're right next to Newcastle, we're neighbours to Newcastle, and they weren't going through such a good time. I think Newcastle getting bought and you've seen the sort of uplift in the city. I think that gave Gateshead a lift as well. We started to get a little bit more fans in, started to sort of correlate. I think our football started to improve off that because the city was just thriving in terms of sporting achievements and things like that. So obviously Nottingham is very similar. I followed the playoffs with Notts County and Nottingham Forest, and I was watching the Nottingham Forest playoffs, obviously hoping to win, because I think when a city's doing well in terms of sporting achievements and Nottingham Forest are getting promoted to the Premier League, I think the full city is going to give it an uplift. And that, and obviously the cricket, they held the cricket with their England team the other day, and England are winning there. So I think I'm really excited to sort of move to a new city. It's the first time in my full career that I'm going to be moving away from home, but I'm really excited for the challenge. I think I'm coming out my comfort zone. I'm just going to try and get comfortable, sort of being a little bit uncomfortable at first, but then I think I'm going to get used to it straight away. And I'm just going to try and really embed myself in the city and try and visit as many Notts County, obviously playing for Notts County, and try and visit as many Nottingham Forest games as I can, go and watch a cricket, and I'm really excited for that.
Trust me, you're moving to the best city in the world, Balfour.
It
is such a fun city. Kedwin, same to you. What was your experience like as a footballer for Gateshead, and how are you feeling about playing for a club in a city that it's a big city, but it's a big small city, if that makes sense, and it's a city where the city knows their sport, so it's very similar, I guess.
Well, no, that's something I'm looking forward to, because in Newcastle it was like you've got Sunderland, Newcastle, and not too much further you've got Middlesbrough. And the non-league scene in the northeast as well is really strong. I played at Hebburn for a couple of years, year and a half, I think it was. And it's just sort of full of enthusiastic football fans and football people. And when you go out and stuff and people see you always have a good conversation about football. It's something I enjoy, so I'm looking forward to that.
What's your? It's probably hard to say because you haven't been in to train just yet, and this is still very early on. But do you have expectations? Have you got goals that you've set yourself already for this season?
I don't have any sort of specific goals. It's just to sort of carry on doing what I was doing last season. And if I go in and have a good pre-season and work hard and commit to doing extra work after training and buying off what the manager's instilling in all the players and learning off all the players as well, sort of being around these players will stand me in good stead as well. So if I do that every day, then sort of that compound interest of investing in the training and hard work will sort of gain that 1% every day and hopefully allow me to excel.
Surely you want to score more goals than Macaulay this year. You can't have him do it another year in a row.
Oh, I can't have the back-to-back, no. I said I was going to do it last year, so I'll just have to, on aggregate over the 2 years, I'll outdo him.
I like that. Macaulay, is that kind of exciting, though, to have like a rivalry with your strike partner when you're both banging in the goals? I mean, for you, have you got the mindset of, I'm not going to let him score more than me this year?
No, 100%. I think it's a healthy rivalry. I think, like we say, we're really close off the pitch. So when we go on the pitch, I genuinely don't think without Ked last year, I would have scored as many goals as I did. And I think he probably said the same. You know, we're pushing each other on. If he was getting a goal, I wanted to score. But that didn't sort of interfere with our performances in terms of we're really unselfish towards each other. We linked up really well. We complemented each other really well. I think the way we play, you know, is a little bit different to me. He likes to link up the play and hold the ball up more. I sort of don't get involved in that as much, but I can do that. But I like to stretch defenses and running behind. So I think that sort of relationship that we have on the pitch, like I say, it's just a healthy rivalry, really. And I think we push each other on to perform better and score more goals.
Do you feel, Macaulay, that the National League feels a bit more like the Football League, just with the nature of the sort of clubs that are in the league and the names that are in there and the stadiums that you'd be playing at?
Definitely. I think I've said this a few times now. I think it's probably the toughest National League that it's been in years. You know, the standard of the teams throughout the league, the size of the clubs, it's huge. You know, it is almost like a sort of League Three. That's what I feel like at the moment with the amount of top clubs in there. You know, the fans, the crowd that clubs get there. I think it's going to be a really tough season. But I do think with the sort of the dressing room we've got there and the talent now we've got in that dressing room, and obviously the signings that we've made, I think we can really impress this season and go one step further.
Now, I'm sure you probably saw, not specifically in that home leg against Grimsby, but some of their other games throughout the season when they have big gates. How do you feel about playing in front of those big crowds at a stadium like Meadow Lane?
Yeah, I can't wait. That's really exciting. That was one of the main factors, you know, that the amount of fans they get obviously at the stadium. And I watched a game and obviously Meadow Lane was rocking and I was just so excited. I knew I hadn't actually signed at that point when I watched the game against Grimsby, but I knew I was probably going to be signing. And I think I'd give me a sort of little extra kick and say, yeah, I want to play in front of them fans. I think there's that time last season, we played at the bigger grounds and the grounds that get a little bit more fans. I think as players, you raise your game to them occasions. And I think I was doing that. I looked forward to them games a little bit more. And I think my performances were better in them games. So I think I'm going to thrive off playing in front of plenty of fans.
Kedwin, have you started to think about a new celebration, considering the amount of fans you're going to be playing in front of?
No, I don't really. Never really had a like go-to celebration kind of thing. I don't know why. Just I should get one like Maka because he loves a little fist bump and stuff like that. So No, I'll have to think about that.
I was going to say, think about one that could be really popular. I mean, the other side of the trend, I don't want to bring that into this interview, but Brennan Johnson, every time he scored, he started bringing out the bow and arrow for Nottingham. And there were a lot of Forest fans that have now ended up with Brennan Johnson tattoos with him bow and arrow on their arms and so forth. So honestly, think hard about it. Try and make it about the city. They'll absolutely love it. I'm asking this question for me. So Notts fans, there might be some of you that relate, but this is for me. I'm always obsessed and always have been since I was a kid with squad numbers. Always have been. You two are both strikers. Kedwin, do you have a preferred number? Have you got something you've already got your eye on? Did you put something in your contract clause that you need it?
No, I didn't put anything in there. Obviously, I like the number 9.
Right, Macaulay's laughing there. Is that yours?
He's not getting that. He's not getting it.
He's got his eye on it.
He's not getting it.
So I do want to start something there. That was a great question. Macaulay, so you want the number 9. You're both going after it.
Yeah, obviously I signed first. I think it should be first come, first serve. I sat in the office and I said I want the number 9. No, I think number 19 is free, and Ked had such a great season last year that I think we should just stick with that one. If number 7 was free, maybe, but I think Ked should stick with number 19 and I'll go number 9.
I absolutely love this because Notts fans are all going to be waiting for that squad, the squad numbers to be released now and say who got their way. Another big thing is you're both strikers. You both scored plenty of goals. Penalties are a big part of the game. Who's taking the penalties? I'm going to go to Macaulay.
I'm definitely on them.
There you go. Macaulay, do you not back yourself?
To be fair, we had we came up with a sort of agreement last year. And it was, obviously, if he won the penalty, he took it. If I won the penalty, I took it. And then obviously, if anyone else won the penalty, it was sort of decided on the pitch. But I don't think we got many. I think he scored 2 penalties last year and I scored 1. So I think we've sort of got this sort of agreement that if we win it, then
hold on,
one of us take it. But
I need to ask this question. You said how many penalties you scored. Did you miss any penalties last season?
No, I never was missed any.
Okay, that was good. There we go. Okay, so that's all fine. I was going to say, otherwise you're going to have to judge it on the misses.
Yeah.
There.
I think in training he missed a few more than me. So,
have you done the done thing yet? Because it is your off season at the moment. So footballers have got some free time on their hands. Let's say a lot of footballers like to play FIFA. Have you kind of moved yourself into a game or like created yourself or started playing online or anything like that?
Nah, I heard the National League's going to be on the new FIFA next season, so definitely be banging a few hat tricks in with myself on there. Like,
yeah, it's exciting times. You've got to as well. I think you have that notion of depending if you get in the team of the week and so forth, you'll get sent that big little card as well with your name on it and your stats underneath it. That's where the players all go a bit nuts about him not being high enough or what have you. So you got that to look forward to next season. So now you've signed, you're both coming. When does pre-season start, Macaulay?
The 30th. So I think the first couple of days I think it's a Thursday and Friday. We're planning on doing some testing to see what sort of physical shape we're in. And I think that the football side of it starts on the Monday. But yeah, we're moving down on the Wednesday next week, the 29th, and I think it starts on the 30th.
How do you feel about that? I mean, right now, are you training hard? Are you worried about getting injured, or are you just kind of taking things easy?
No, I'm working really hard. You know, like I say, I'm sticking to the program we've been sent. The SNC guy, I've met him at Notts County. He's really impressed me. The detail he went into. So I really trust him. I've been sticking that as much as I can. So I'm in good physical shape. I'm actually going after this. I'm going to go to the gym. I've got a run to do and a few leg weights to do. So I'm going to go and do that. And I'm going to try and get as much load into my body in the next 6 days. I've been doing sessions with my own PT in terms of football sessions and to get my sharpness back. But ultimately, this is just to sort of give us a platform to go back in the pre-season. I think that's what pre-season's for, is getting fit and stronger. So this sort of couple of weeks leading up to pre-season is just giving us that base to go back in the pre-season firing.
Kedwin, I've got to ask, are you going to the gym after this call? Because if not, the fans are going to start leaning towards Macaulay.
I've already been, but if he's gone, I might have to go again.
Right, okay. Guys, you've been absolutely awesome to speak to. So I'm just want to end with saying, I'll start with you, Kedwin. If you've got a message for the Notts fans, because this is going to be the 4th season outside of the Football League for Notts County, which let's be brutally honest, one season out of the Football League was one too many for a club of that stature, the club of that size. But it's football, and football is football. Anything can happen. So everyone, I think Notts County fans and non-Notts County fans are hoping for a big, big season from Notts. So what would your message be to the fans who were a bit, well, on edge? Well, actually, they were a bit excited because they've seen signings like you come in.
Well, yeah, hopefully I'll just sort of enhance that excitement with performances on the pitch, and I can't wait to see them out in their numbers supporting the team. And obviously we know that the team's been out of the league for 3 years or so now, and hopefully we can be the ones to sort of help get the club back to where it belongs.
I said last bits, and that was going to be your message, but I want to ask you a question on that. In fact, does that give you a bit of extra hunger that the players, the team, the squad that is going to get Notts County back into the Football League is going to be one of those squads and teams that is remembered, that is always thought of as, right, they got us back to that time? Does that give you a bit of extra hunger to go, I want to be excited, I want to be part of that?
Definitely, that was sort of one of the things that was really excited me about coming here, to be a part of that. And I definitely think it's possible with the squad there is there, and the infrastructure within the club, and the coach that they've brought in, and manager as well. So no, I'm definitely keen to try and be a part of that.
Macaulay, this is always really difficult asking for your message to the fans after Kedwin's already given one, because he's used all the ones that you would normally give. But what would you be saying?
No, like I said, I think they should be really excited. I think, you know, the expectations really high from the fans, and rightly so. This club, the size of this club, it doesn't belong in a national league, it belongs in the Football League. But we're here for a reason. It's going to be a tough league. But I think just keep coming in your numbers. I'm really excited that I'm hoping that my experience, Ted's experience from last year, can help them go one step further. And I think if they can turn up out in the numbers every single week, and I'm sure that we're going to give everything on the pitch, and I can't wait to meet him, you know, in pre-season. That's going to excite me even more for the season.
Me personally, I just cannot wait to see who gets the number 9 shirt. I really can't. That's made my night. Talking about that, it's going to be interesting. Macaulay, Kedwin, thank you so much for joining us tonight on In the Game, and best of luck with pre-season and the new season. And fingers crossed you find somewhere to live together that's nice, and Kedwin continues to cook his ready-made prep meals for Macaulay. You guys have been great. It is 6:45 on BBC Radio Nottingham.